Friday, everybody. We've made it to Friday. This is Green Dot Daily. We are Action Network's daily sports betting show. I am your host, Brendan Glasheen. We are here every weekday starting at noon Eastern, streaming live in the Action Network app. And we're also live on the Action Network YouTube channel. Green Dot Daily is presented by BetMGM. Use the bonus code ACTION when signing up to get first bet insurance. Bet up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. We've got a good show for you today. Here's the lineup that we've got coming at you. We've got an NBA segment coming from Sean Little. He's got some thoughts on the slate tonight. Late game, good matchup. Denver and Los Angeles. The Clippers, a short favorite at home against the Nuggets. And then we're diving into the EPL slate for the weekend, English Premier League, with our Wondergoal fellas, Anthony Dabbundo and BJ Cunningham. That is later on. We start in the NFL Super Wildcard Weekend. We've been diving into this slate all week long, 6 games, 2 tomorrow, 3 on Sunday, and then Monday night, Dallas, Tampa. We'll also make mention of what we have coming up for the weekend as far as programming here at Action Network to get you ready for the games. But for now, we welcome in Stuckey, who joins us to give a couple of his picks. Stuckey, one of the co-hosts with Chris Raybon on the Action Network podcast, the Sunday Six Pack. And what we normally do on this Friday show is Stuckey reveals a few of his picks. Not all of them, just some. Stuckey, what's up? Big weekend ahead. We've been diving into the games all week, so I'm curious with line movement, lines continuing to teeter one way or the other. What's your first one for us for the weekend?
Hey, what's going on? I hope you got in on the Bowers party on Monday night. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, RIP college football until next year, and we're on to the NFL playoffs. Let's kick things off with the Baltimore Ravens plus. I think you can get 9.5 out there. It's the best number that you can find. I really like the Ravens here. Anything over 7.5, I think is fine. There's a couple of reasons why. Number one, they actually have the defense. I think the Bengals offense would much rather play the Chiefs. They don't really have anyone that can match up on the outside and at safety. And the Ravens defense, I mean, they have 2 corners in Peters and Humphrey who can really match up with the Bengals receivers on the outside. And if you look at Burrow's numbers in his career, when both of them are on the field, they're not strong. Last week, he had a touchdown pass to Jamar Chase, who was being covered by Darryl Worley, who was playing his first snaps of the year. Yeah. And, their safeties have really come on. You got Marcus Williams back, which is really going to help with the deep ball. Kyle Hamilton's progression as a rookie, he's really come on. And then the run defense, that's really the only thing Cincy could do in that first matchup was run Joe Mixon. Since they signed Roquan Smith, added Bowers, it's been the number 1 run defense in the NFL. They also have the number 1 special teams. So what is the Ravens offense going to do? That's the big question. Now, I do think the Bengals defense has some regression. Look, they've been getting very lucky in the red zone and turnovers and third down, a lot of things that have high variance, not really sustainable. But I just think that this is too many points for an organization that has, under John Harbaugh, has done this so many times. He knows how to get his team ready on the road in the wild card round, really in any round. But in the wild card round, he's 5-0 straight up on the road and 5-0 against the spread on the road in the wild card round. These two teams are very familiar with each other. Home field is very diminished. It's already diminished in the divisional game. They were just here last week. Right. Maybe that's one of the reasons over the past 20 years, road teams in the divisional round, in the wild card round in a divisional game are 16-8-1 against the spread over the past 20 years. But I just think defense, special teams for the Ravens will keep this close. I'm going to call it 20-17 Bengals. If the Ravens want to win this game, they got to win it. Like, I remember 2007 as a Ravens fan, we actually had a quarterback. McNair was the quarterback. We were hosting the Colts, and we lost on 5 field goals. Vinatieri field goals to the Colts, who came into Baltimore. That's what the Ravens have to do to win the game. They might have to win like 15-13 on 5 Tucker field goals. But yeah, I think defense, special teams, huge advantage. And the one thing that I didn't mention, the Bengals offensive line. You lose your right tackle 2 games ago. You lose your right guard. Alex Kappa was one of their best offensive linemen last week who won't play. That's 2. Your replacements now are really poor, especially in pass protection. And if you look in the second half of the Patriots game, Burrow was under pressure a lot. And then last week, even when the Ravens didn't have their full defense, Burrow was under pressure the entire game. They were in the backfield the entire game, which is going to be a huge factor here. So, yeah, give me the Ravens catching anything over 7.5 plus 9.5 is fine here. I think this is a close divisional, hard-fought game.
It's really hard to see past Joe Burrow and how great he's been, how he's emerged since this time last year. But the protection is what we talked about in their run. They overcame that in their run to the Super Bowl, but with no Kappa, no Collins, who Collins was placed on IR, as you mentioned. So those are really glaring issues for the Cincinnati Bengals. They are 20-4 against the spread in their last 24 games, the Cincinnati Bengals. Entering the playoffs last year, they were 0-8 straight up, 0-7-1 against the spread in their previous 8 playoff games. Then they went 4-0 against the number in their run to the Super Bowl. So, and they covered in the Super Bowl. The Rams won on the money line, of course, but the Bengals did cover the spread. So you're fading them in terms of the spread this weekend. I really don't. I really can't disagree. And the good news that you haven't mentioned quarterback, Tyler Huntley is expected. We think he was a limited participant in practice on Thursday. So to your point, and you're going to get Andrews, you're going to get Dobbins. Those guys get ruled out, as you found out, in a very rude way, waking up last week. But with those guys active, you're getting the same number just before, a couple hours before kickoff, and the number shot back up when the Anthony Brown news came out when these teams met in Week 18. And the Bengals did have something to play for, and the Ravens kept it close.
Yeah,
I like
it. Set your guard too. You set Marcus Peters, and the line. I'm assuming that line's going to come down, so I would grab it now. Right. And yeah, the Bengals last year, the problem was their protection, which they thought they addressed with Kappa and Collins, who were not there. And you mentioned that run to the playoffs last year. They won the turnover margin 9-1 on their road to the Super Bowl. And look, they played the Raiders at home. That game was in doubt all the way to the end. They played the Titans, where they sacked 7 times. That game was in doubt. I think it was a 2-point game. So their games were close. Now you have Joe Burrow in your back pocket. He'll probably end up winning this game if it's really close at the end. And that's what the Ravens don't have. If the Ravens need to go down the field and win this game late, probably not going to happen. And if the Bengals do, it probably will happen. That's probably the difference in who will win this game if it's close. But yeah, there's some cracks in the Bengals right now on that offensive line. And then with that Ravens secondary and their improvement in the run defense since Roquan Smith, I think this is a battle. As long as you just can't turn it over early. Because if you get behind, you're done. You can't play from 2 touchdowns down against this team. So as long as they can take care of the ball early, lean on their special teams, I think this will be close.
So while this next one is not a divisional matchup, we did, and that's been the theme of discussing these 6 games, these teams all faced each other in the regular season, whether it be once or multiple times, as we've discussed. Onto the Chargers and the Jaguars, you really have to throw away the game when these teams met each other earlier in the year for some similar reasons. Now, in the cases that you might bring up, Chargers were super banged up, and you're into them this weekend.
Yeah, I like the Chargers here for a multitude of reasons. I actually took the money line. I don't trust the Chargers laying any points, like even 2.5, and 2 is more of a key number since they moved the extra points back. But if you want to, parlay them with the Bills money line, which I did.
Stuck. Can I cut you off for 1 second?
Yeah.
We just got some news here. Breaking news to the program. Mike Williams has been ruled out for Saturday's game against the Jags.
That's actually big. I still like the Chargers, but if you look at Herbert's numbers historically, with and without Mike Williams, who's obviously just awesome, there's a drastic difference. But here's why I like the Chargers here. A lot of it is on, we'll start on the defensive end. They're getting healthier, right? You got Bosa back. Their secondary was dealing with injuries all year. And they're going against the Jaguars offense that doesn't have their tackle now. I don't know if people are talking about that. And Trevor Lawrence has really struggled with a couple different specific coverage types. And I question the Chargers offensive staff and their play calling. Yeah. They don't really, go downfield enough, but their defensive staff and their defensive play calling, led by Staley, who's a great defensive mind, is always prepared. So I feel like they're going to, this game, they're going to have a really good game plan. It's going to confuse Lawrence into a couple of mistakes. And on the other side of the ball, it's the one problem I do have with the Chargers is too many short passes, right? Just use Herbert's arm, go downfield. Now Williams would be that downfield threat, but the Jaguars, their biggest struggle is short passing. They're 31st in the NFL defending the short pass. And look, when you get to this time of the year, NFL lines are very efficient. It's not like a Brock Bowers prop in college football or in the week where you can bet $500. Like they're really efficient lines here. So what I look for is a unit that's just either undervalued or overvalued, or I don't think the market is capturing it enough. And that's the Jaguars secondary here. This is a Jacksonville secondary that I have as bottom 3 in the league. They just got away with it all year because they weren't really tested. You go look at their division. I mean, you're playing the Texans twice, the Colts twice, the Titans twice. You clinched the division playing Josh Dobbs. They faced the easiest schedule of opposing quarterbacks, even without Williams. I think Herbert will be able to move the ball here. A lot of short passes, a lot of Keenan Allen, Eckler. And then I think that the Chargers have a good defensive game plan here, do enough to win what I think will be a competitive close game, but I think Chargers pull it out.
This Chargers announcement on Mike Williams coming from the team, ruled out for Saturday's game. Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, adds that Williams was previously questionable with that back injury. He will remain in Los Angeles to continue receiving treatment, downgraded to out. No Mike Williams for the Chargers. Stuckey still likes them. Now, is this a situation now with Williams officially out? Do you wait and get a better number on the money line?
Well, I mean, yeah.
And by wait, I mean like in the next
You'll probably get a slightly better money line. If you were waiting on Jags and Williams got ruled in, you might have gotten a 3, which isn't going to happen now. Probably would have gotten scooped up real quick anyway. I'm surprised that, I mean, look, it's kind of an organizational failure on the Chargers who the Ravens lost. Like, you weren't playing for anything. I don't know why they were playing their starters in that game, especially as long as they did. And I also don't know why they're ruling him out now. They said they were going to give him up till kick. Why not let even if you knew he was going to be out, say, hey, maybe there's a 5% chance, and then you have to make the Jaguars at least, still game plan if he might be in there. But yeah, the organizational failure from the Chargers last week. But yeah, you'll probably get a little bump to the Jags now for sure.
Okay, Chargers at minus 145 at BetMGM on the money line. Mike Williams out. That is the news coming in moments ago as it pertains to this matchup this weekend. You can listen to Stuckey and Raybon. They give out the Sunday 6-pack on the Action Network podcast. You can get the rest of the picks, including Raybon. Raybon did join the show yesterday, so he's got some picks out there. Stuckey, thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk to you again next week when we dive into the divisional round.
Yep, best weekend of the year in the NFL. Good luck, and enjoy the weekend.
All right, thanks, pal. Okay, on to the association tonight. Your NBA market report. The Atlanta Hawks, a short favorite, visiting the Indiana Pacers. Atlanta trying to get right. Pacers fell just short from covering the other night. Matt Moore, that was one of his picks. They came up just short. I can't imagine how he was feeling after that. Timberwolves laying points at home against the Phoenix Suns. And the Clippers and Nuggets. That is a good matchup on a Friday night. Two of the teams we expect to contend in the Western Conference. Clippers laying a short number against Denver. Sean Little has picks tonight in the association. Let's find out what he's got.
Appreciate it, Brendan. I'm going to Los Angeles. Give me the Clippers -2 versus the Denver Nuggets. I'm going to sell high on the Denver Nuggets here. I know they've been rolling. 4 straight wins at home, 7-2-1 against the spread at home over their last 10. But this game is in LA, as I mentioned. Nuggets 8-2 against the spread on the road this season. Here are the 2 main reasons why I like the Clippers -2. Number 1, they have the best 3-point defense in the NBA, only allowing 34.1% of makes to their opponent, 32% at home. The Nuggets like to shoot the 3. That's what they do. Number 1 in NBA shooting 3-point percentage. Jokic usually gets his guys really big, good looks. Big on big, as I like to say. I'll take the home team in this spot. Also, number 2, revenge game. The last 2 times they played this matchup, Denver won by double digits. Kawhi Leonard was not on the floor. He's now coming off his best game of the season against the Mavs, where he scored 30+. This is the revenge spot factor, and Kawhi coming back in the fold is an angle that I really like. Jokic on the injury report as well. Keep an eye on that for a wrist. Been bothering him as of late. He's been getting treatment on timeouts. Something's not right there. He only took 1 3-point attempt in their last game. All of his buckets were coming within 5 to 6 feet of the basket when they played the Lakers. If they're missing Jokic, that's a massive miss, obviously, the back-to-back MVP, and it really kills them in transition. He's the one that gets those guys rolling. I like the Clippers here, -2.
From the hardwood out to the pitch, we've got a couple of good ones this weekend in the EPL. Man City and Man United. That is a featured matchup that gets started at 7:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. And there is the rest of the slate. We welcome in 2 of our Wondergoal Podcast hosts, Anthony Dabbundo and BJ Cunningham. They cover soccer at Action Network. And of course, you can listen to Wondergoal whenever the Wondergoal Podcast comes out. Next Wednesday is their next episode. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts, the Wondergoal Podcast, Action Network Soccer Betting Podcast. Okay, gents, looking at the slate, I mentioned Man U as well as Man City playing tomorrow. That's one of three. BJ Cunningham, from the rest of the slate, what do you got for a best bet tomorrow morning?
I love at 10 a.m. Eastern time, Brighton plus half a goal at minus 125 against Liverpool. I said it on Wondergoal. This is a spot you dream about if you bet on the Premier League regularly. A Big Six club coming to Brighton, who is one of the best teams outside of the Big Six, having major issues right now and having a lot of injury issues as well. Right now, it looks like Roberto Firmino, Darwin Nunez, Diego Jota, Luis Diaz, and Virgil van Dijk are all going to miss this match for Liverpool. And they've been having problems before that, even before these injuries. And it starts in the midfield. The reason Liverpool has been so good over the last two seasons is because they've been able to run people over in the midfield. They've been able to press people high, and teams have succumbed to that pressure. Well, now guys like Thiago, Jordan Henderson, Fabinho, they're on the wrong side of 30, and they just can't cover ground like they used to. So what happens a lot of times is Liverpool likes to play two of those three guys in the midfield alongside Harvey Elliott, who is more of a ball carrier, supplier to the front line, not a guy who's going to run into the box and support those runs with Darwin Nunez, with Salah, and whoever's playing on the left, playing wide. That's great. Getting a lot of guys in the box is good. Creating numerical advantages there is awesome. But when you lose the ball and your two best transition defenders are standing in the 18-yard box, teams can pick you apart in transition. And that's where a guy like Virgil van Dijk has cleaned up a lot of those transition opportunities for other teams. Well, he's going to be out for this match. And a team you don't want to face when you're not having transition defensive issues is Brighton, a team that loves to play through the middle of the pitch. They're a top 5 team at playing through pressure. And they took Liverpool to the brink at Anfield. They drew them 3-3. It was a very even match. Brighton went up 2-0 in the first 30 minutes. And Brighton under De Zerbi has been incredible. They're averaging over 1.5 expected goals per 90 minutes. They're flying offensively. They have one of the best ball carriers on the left side of the pitch in Mitoma. He's going to be going against one of the worst defensive right backs in Trent Alexander-Arnold. There are just so many issues right now for Liverpool. And they're sitting at plus 115, which is the exact same price that Arsenal was about a week and a half ago. And the Arsenal is flying at the top of the league and in a much better position than Liverpool right now. So this is a very overvalued Liverpool team that the market just continues to say, no, this is still a Liverpool team that was good last year and year before. They're not that right there right now. So I love Brighton plus half a goal. This is, again, a spot you absolutely dream about if you bet the Premier League.
All of the top 8, we're looking at the slate, all of the top 8 are playing against one another this weekend. So it really is a great weekend. Cunningham likes Brighton. Dabbundo, you're going elsewhere. But I've also heard off the air that we need some conviction here in this take today to really send this Friday out on a high note.
Well, Premier League overs have been hitting at, almost 60% this season. A lot of the top teams have run really well relative to their expected goals numbers. Goalkeeping has been down across the league in terms of the ability to shot stop. But Arsenal takes on Spurs on Sunday morning, 11:30 Eastern, the North London derby. It's a big rivalry match. It's a personal rivalry between BJ and I. BJ being an Arsenal fan, top of the league. He's flying. I've been down on Spurs coming into the season. They're sitting in 5th right now. They really got pasted in the last meeting against Arsenal. The first meeting came down to Arsenal has really improved their transition defense. They were a little bit shaky when they would lose the ball last year and they would let opponents play through them. And that's how Spurs really thrashed them in this meeting last year. But they've improved defensively in transition, and Spurs haven't been nearly as good at generating those counterattacks and those quick strike moments that they were last season. Tottenham has allowed the most shots off of high turnovers in the entire league, which is a metric that, when you lose the ball in your own half. And Arsenal rather, they were 11th last year in pass completion percentage allowed. So the opponents completed a good number of passes against Arsenal. They've improved to 4th this year. So that really gets at the ability for Arsenal to keep Spurs penned in their own half a little bit. With that being said, I do think both of these attacks have run really well this year. Both have overperformed their expected goals by a pretty wide margin. And I just do think there is some regression coming, especially for this Arsenal attack, which, last season they were about plus 0.4 expected goals difference per 90. This year, they're more than double that. And so I'm just a little bit skeptical that they'll continue to run that well. I think there is some regression coming for Arsenal. So I like the under 2.75 goals. It's a hold your nose under because both of these attacks can go off at any time. But I just think that Arsenal will have most of the possession and Spurs will struggle to create those chances in transition. The last game ended 3-1, but there was a goalkeeper error and a penalty. So it was a little bit of a fluky over. I do like the under in this game, 2.75.
All right. So both of you have an early morning play, Saturday, Sunday, good little appetizer before the American football on Saturday and Sunday. BJ Cunningham, Anthony Dabbundo. We'll catch you guys next Wednesday. Wondergoal Podcast. Good to have you on Green Dot Daily.
Thanks for having us.
Brendan.
You can find all of our picks, well, not my picks, the guest picks from the show over on the Action Network app at Green Dot Daily. Yes, we have an account that logs all the picks from the show. They get logged shortly after the conclusion of the program. Picks from Stuckey today in the NFL, Sean Little in the NBA, BJ and Anthony in the soccer world. So good stuff at Green Dot Daily in the Action Network app. Okay, some housekeeping before we say goodbye and send you on your way for the weekend, Rusted Roots. Two things in terms of news. If you just missed it, we just talked about it with Stuckey. Mike Williams ruled out for the Chargers. Ruled out. He will stay back in Los Angeles, not make the trip to Jacksonville, out with a back injury. He was ruled out by the team. This isn't reporting. It's the team announced it. He's out for the game on Saturday, tomorrow. And Mike McDaniel, head coach of the Miami Dolphins, he just spoke to reporters, and it is official. Skylar Thompson is the quarterback for the Dolphins on Sunday afternoon when they visit the Buffalo Bills in Super Wild Card Weekend. No Mike Williams, Skylar Thompson in at quarterback for Miami. Also, big weekend of programming here at Action Network. Don't forget, with Wild Card Weekend here, our team, Action Network, will be live with a very special edition of the Action Power Hour this Saturday, starting at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Convince Me gets our coverage started. Chad Millman, Sean Kerner, Simon Hunter, Chris Raybon, and Darren Ravel. They begin the coverage at 1 for the Power Hour. Convince Me at 1. Right after that one, followed, we'll go into the Touchdown Show with Nick Giffen and Jill Gallant. So you got a Power Hour starting at 1 Eastern tomorrow. And the Power Hour is on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Special edition of Best Bets. That will be coming your way. So 2 Power Hours this weekend. 1 p.m. Eastern Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Also, Bet What Happens Live with Nick Giffen and a variety of guests coming at halftime for each game. Yes, 6 editions of Bet What Happens Live this weekend. That's cool. Nick Giffen will join you at halftime on our Action platforms in the app, on YouTube. Nick will have Bet What Happens Live for all 6 Wild Card Weekend games throughout this weekend and also in the NFL playoffs going forward. We'll have more details and announcements of coverage and specific times as the playoffs roll on. So we look forward to that. Our team is ready to go, locked and loaded for a big weekend. Green Dot Daily is presented by BetMGM. Use the bonus code ACTION when signing up to get first bet insurance. You can bet up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's a show. That's a week. Thank you all so much for sticking with us here on Green Dot Daily. Plenty of coverage of all 6 NFL wildcard weekend games. For everyone behind the scenes, the guests we've had, not just today, but throughout the course of the week, Brendan Glasheen saying so long. One more time. Saturday, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got the Power Hour, another edition of the Power Hour on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we also have Bet What Happens Live for all 6 wildcard weekend games. You all have a great weekend. Best of luck. Bet responsibly. Get some W's, and we'll see you all again on Monday.